Hello and welcome to the Weekly Scroll podcast. My name is Ryan.
And I'm Hunter, a knight of Grinstead.
There we go. And fuck me, it's been a couple of weeks. I feel like I forgot how to do this. But we're here. This is us. And tonight we're going to be reviewing Guild Sword and Magic for Hire from some disaster tourism game. Somebody who that's right, it's Kirby, our third host.
Do you know a fun fact about Kirby is that we're actually the same person. That's why you never see us in the same room at the same time. It's kind of a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde situation.
You say that now, and then do you forget our last stream where you're both literally on
that
stream
was
at the same time?
pre-recorded. That's why Kirby didn't say almost anything the entire time.
You're right. That's very true. He said like 5 words, or they said like 5 words.
It was kind of like a Tupac at Coachella situation, you know?
There we go. But no, so this is Guild Sword and Magic for Hire. Guild is a rules light, old school style role-playing game inspired by heavier frameworks of the same era. There's some interesting quotes here on the back too. There's this one that says, "Guild is exactly the kind of game I want to both play and run. It's clever fun and will undoubtedly become a staple of my home game," by some person named Ryan from something called The Weekly Scroll on the back of the book. So, yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, so we're doing Guild. Did you get your physical
says Hunter TWS #1 cat boy. So, you know.
There we go. Did you get your actual like physical in? Nice. So he's showing, so for the podcast he's holding it up, but I don't mean like the ones that signed, like the actual Kickstarter rewards.
Oh, no.
Okay, so I got mine in yesterday, so for those that don't know what we're talking about is we got special early versions because we might have an in with the creator, but I actually did get my Kickstarter rewards. So those are, as far as I know, are all posted. We did do a creator cut of this back on episode, I don't remember, and I probably should have remembered, but we have played this on stream before. I got everything from the Kickstarter. It is the book. It is the adventure book. It is the pad of character sheets. It is the bookmark. I got 4 stickers, which I love these. And some of the promo art, I almost thought they were standees that you could play with. But they are stickers.
Nothing's stopping you from making them standees. So
that's very true. It's I guess, is it all 5? No, it's 4 of the 5 characters from the cover of the book, which is done by Tony Jaguar. I love the cover art. And then I got just a fistful of like metal style logo disaster tourism stickers. So I got like 20 of them. So yeah, so that is the actual Kickstarter rewards. Everything's posted. Love the bookmark. We'll get to that. But I
really like the bookmark quite a bit. So
bookmark's dope. Yeah. So we'll get into it. So we'll as we get into the review, you'll see what we're talking about. But on one side is the aptitude explanation. Aptitude is a big part of the game. We'll talk about in a second. A list of difficulties, some example enemies, and on the other side there is D8 adventure seeds, it's 1 through 5 weird loot, and then town name generator. It's a great bookmark. I love this. Is such a good thing to add that I assume is not extremely expensive. I don't know. I haven't put a game out, but really elevates your Kickstarter rewards, and is great to have especially in zines that don't have like bookmarks and stuff. So I
love an easy reference sheet too, and this is a very effective one. Like perfect.
Absolutely.
I got enemies on here and difficulty. I would just have this out with me because especially like when you're setting like difficulty goals to roll at, I'm bad at that a lot of the time. Or if like, maybe I've had a couple of drinks midway through the game. So I'm like, oh yeah.
And who doesn't? So, all right, we are out of practice, as you can tell, but we are going to get into the game here, and boom. This is Guild Sword and Magic for Hire. Look at that cover. I really like the style of the cover,
Very classic dungeon art cover, you know.
Absolutely. And just the kind of like black border around the whole outside with the dungeon inside, but then like the one guy breaking it. It's such a good tiny little feature that really, I don't know, just elevates especially cover art. And I love that everything is so dark but the characters are so bright. I don't know, the dark and white together just really make the whole thing pop.
Yeah, I also just like the scene. I like you get your thiefy rogue boy trying to pick this lock while the caster and the knight hold off the weirdo goblin boys, little gobbies, you know.
Yeah, those little fucking gobbies.
That's me in that corner. Yeah, I got my hand. Yeah, I fucking.
You're the wizard. This is you.
About the cat. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's me. So.
Oh, so it's 5 characters on the front, but the one is falling off a cliff, so that's the one you don't get. You get a little gobby boy, you get your knight, your fighter, you get your rogue, you get your wizard. That's what you get. Those are the stickers you get if you back the Kickstarter to get stickers. So, getting into it right off the bat. We've decided to do, so this isn't a huge zine. It is a total of 44 pages without covers, but it only goes to like 35 without, before it goes to a character sheet, and then an adventure for the back, which is the Gloomlight Hollow from Gabe Rivera. Definitely go check out Copper State Games. Make some good stuff. So this is right on the cusp of whether we're gonna do like a zine review or a full game. Right. And we're just gonna full game it. So, you know, and
full send it, you know.
Yeah, and Kirby's one of us, so we have to be extra hard on him. That's how this works. So if I ever put out a game, you guys have to shit all over me. But I'm not that we're gonna do that. But so front cover of the book is a kingdom name generator, D10 with prefixes and suffixes.
Which is where I got by the name of I'm the hunter, the knight of Grinstead. I rolled a 1 and a 6. So
yeah, Grinstead. Well, there we go. Boom. And then we have the standard like the people that are involved in the game page. So written by KD, layout from Kristen Denner, edited by Ben L, cover art by Tony Jaguar, character sheet by Jeffrey Baker. Love the character sheet, by the way. Really good. We'll get to that.
Great one.
It is CC40. It uses the weird framework, which we've also gone over on the show.
I wasn't there.
Who did I do weird with? Oh,
I don't remember.
Guy.
Yeah, some guy. Oh, that's right, some guy.
Yeah. I do like that the creator has definitely watched our show before, and everything in this thing is hyperlinked to fuck.
Oh, it really is. It's super convenient.
Super hyperlinked.
It's like funny because actually this week was written through 2 different games, and one was not hyperlinked, and this one was, and it was like, I was looking through. Oh, you know what I think I was looking through actually? I think I was looking through Mothership 1E.
No hyperlinks.
I was looking for one thing specifically, and it was driving me genuinely insane. And I had to look through this for fun, and I was like, fuck, of course this one is.
Yeah. I mean, if we need to reach out to somebody involved with Mothership that we may know and to tell them to hyperlink their fucking shit. But like everything's a link. Like even if you roll over, like Tony Jaguar on the cover page links out to their itch page. Jeff Baker links out to their itch page. Kim
I
Holm,
specifically like that. Like yeah, I really
so
like. We've talked about that before. Obviously, we repeat a lot of the same stuff, but like I like when there are artists like attributed in a game, and then you click on their name and it takes me to their work. Like, I think it's nice. You know, we should promote each other more. So yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, there are times where, I mean, some people, like if your name is John Smith and you credit them in the book, it's gonna be really difficult to find their art. Yeah.
Yeah. I've looked for artists before and be like, I don't know where, like, I can't find this person. So
no. So it's really nice to have all of that. They even hyperlink their own disastertourism.games. Definitely check that out. The guildrpg.quest, yeah, which is an evolving website for guild content, which is great. Go check that out. And then Adventure at Wait. It is a RPG set in a fantasy kingdom as imagined by old school tabletop games. Best run by 3 to 6 players and 1 GM, referenced as the Guild Master. Boom. Disaster Tourism 2022. Got some art here on the side. I think for
this
the most part,
may be my favorite art piece. I'm like was thinking earlier. I was like, damn, I should have made that my background. The next art piece, the darkness one.
I was gonna say you like this trumpet like standard.
Like, I don't mind that one, but no, the person with the spear with the dark shadows or monster things.
So good. I think
kind
this
of the
must be
a start piece, you know.
So Kirby is with us here in the chat. Tell me if I'm wrong, but the style wise, I think there may be like 4 or 5 pieces, and I'm pretty sure that these are the Kim Home ones, and their art is absolutely fucking fire. Like there's this one, there's a dragon, and later one. But yeah, this piece is fantastic. So to talk about what he's talking about, basically it's a person in mostly white, but also black, holding a spear, kind of looking out, and behind them is this huge shadowy thing, but it's also at the edges it's monsters and creatures with claws and hair and troll faces just like looming over them from behind with like eyes in the darkness too. Gorgeous fucking piece. A little bit of splatter. Yeah, the Inkblot stuff is Kim, and then everything else is the free use, like public domain stuff. So it's a mix of primarily public domain with like 4 or 5 Kim Home art pieces. I will say, I do love this piece, but there's a couple times in the throughout the layout here where like at the bottom the art like cuts off onto
right
like
there.
a hard line.
Yeah.
So either it would have been nice to either have that continue off the edge of the page or be the edge of the page. It just gives it a little bit of, or like edit it so that it's like a little not like a hard line clip. But yeah, a really, really fantastic piece of art right there. We get to a table of contents page. Very like in the middle. I wouldn't have minded it not being in a box, but it is completely hyperlinked. History, game overview, aptitude, everything down, all the way down.
It's kind of bookmarky, you know.
It is, you know, it is bookmarky.
Yeah, I kind of like it. I like the skull at the bottom. So for you, those of you all listening, it is like a narrow column that is almost like a bookmark. At the very bottom is a skull missing its jaw, but with a crown on top. I like that piece. Kind of feels. Yeah, I feel like it feels good and centered, but.
Yeah, it's a great piece. I feel like I've seen that. There's 1 or 2 pieces in this that I'm like, I've seen this one like a bunch of times before. It's definitely a common like free use piece of art, but it's because it's a great little piece of art. Looks solid. All right, moving in. I will say, I don't know if people know this, so if you're watching this and you have this, Kirby threw in a little something that I love so much. Do you see the ellipse in the top left corner of the page on every page?
Oh, I so missed that till just now. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a good quality of life feature.
Yeah. You know what? Honestly, I think would be a great thing to add to this in the PDF, specifically the PDF, because it doesn't matter in the other one, is like a little arrow pointing to this that has like just one line across the top of this in small text that says like, click this on every page to go back to table of contents. Because
but once you see it, you see it, you know.
But you didn't see it. And how many times have you gone through it? Like just one little thing on the very first page that just has like a, you know, click for a table of contents. Boom, right there would make this great. Because anywhere you go, boom, table of contents. You hit page 30, you go, oh, look, there's an ellipse on the page. Goes back to table of contents. So fucking good. Why doesn't
every game do that?
It's because a lot of people don't put as much work in their PDFs. But here's the problem with the tiny little rant here, where people should charge more for the games. Because people put effort into it, right? PDFs should cost money because at the end of the day, realistically, the work is done, right? The PDF should be the base cost of the game, and the book should be the additional cost to print the game. So PDFs should cost more. But here's the thing. If you're going to start charging more for your PDFs, then you need to have more than just a plain PDF that's not searchable, that's completely flat, that doesn't have navigation features, that doesn't have anything of that. I agree PDF should cost more, but if PDFs are going to cost more, you should get more with the PDF. The baseline should be features like this, like hyperlinks and bookmarks and things like that, because a lot of people in the world are moving to a more digital framework. You know, books should obviously still exist because books are better. I love holding a book more, but I often read in PDF because I just do it. To me, my brain works well to be able to search, to have the navigation, to be able to click and zoom.
Well, my screen's so big too. It's nice to like be able to like have it so massively in front of me and backlit, you know?
Yeah, so having that feature, which is a very Troika-ish feature, I know it's one of my favorite features we talk about on Troika a lot, is if you click the page numbers or whatever at the top, it takes you back to the table of contents or the chapter. So adding this in, great feature. Let's check for bookmarks real quick. No bookmarks, but it's 35 pages, and it does have a table of contents, and it takes you back. Not that big a deal. This, I think, more than makes up for it, the ability to just go back to the table of contents immediately.
I'm like really just referencing back to this. I ran Mothership for the first time this week, and so I kept going back to the book, and it's neither bookmarked nor hyperlinked.
You're talking about 1E, right?
Yeah.
The latest. How do you not bookmark it?
The latest download. It's like they like the day before we played is when they released. They're like, hey, here's the final versions of all the like. I'm like, oh, cool. Yeah, just. I'm like, now that we're talking about it, I'm just like, oh man, I forgot how frustrating that was. I'm looking for one piece of info.
Here's the thing: is like to an extent, I don't want to say I forgive not having hyperlinks, but I can understand to a point. But like bookmarks, like a lot of things auto bookmark your shit. Like, how do you not have fucking bookmarks in a PDF at the least? You know?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. If you're not gonna have hyperlinks, you need like, yeah. It seems like. I mean, I'd be fine with just the hyper fucking links, you know?
Yeah. Or minimum the bookmarks, because you can just click the bookmark tab and go. It is basically hyperlinks, but it's off to the side and not really helpful. So anyway, so great little feature that's on every page of the PDF. Nice to see that. This is Guild. Your kingdom is set in a classic fantasy world filled with ancient magics, deadly monsters, and deep places that only the brave dare tread. Nigh on 1,000 years ago, one of these brave adventurers took it upon themselves to organize their party into an established group with the goal of taking on adventuring jobs from locals, bounties for monsters, and more. As the centuries passed, many guilds of similar ilk have sprung up all over the world and beyond. From far and wide, the hopeful sacrifice everything to join the guild as underlings. Unsure if their survival is guaranteed, but determined to make a name for themselves despite a hand that has otherwise been harshly dealt to them. So, yeah, that's the world. A lot of adventuring, and then there are guilds that everyone wants to be a part of. It kind of reminds me of like fantasy Hunter x Hunter a little bit, like the vibe a tiny bit.
I was about to say it's very anime. Playing my Bastards game, which we've put on pause to play other games because we want to try other tabletop games, is a guild based, like they work for a guild and they're like getting work from their guild. So it's a great format for running things, you know?
Yeah, it's a great way to create a game, because a lot of games have that exactly like you just said, or create that in the thing, because it defaults to like, if you're just gonna be adventuring, like, why are you adventuring? Oh, to get money.
Yeah.
If there's a way to get money, wouldn't there be an organization? Okay, there's a guild, so why don't you make a game that is literally just defined by that aspect of it, as opposed to a whole game where you just basically are playing like a mini game in it. So this is great. There is a little bit of a brief history here. Ancient gold bars. There's this little logo for it. I'm pretty sure Kirby created this logo. It's like a G, but on the left side there's two bars. Yeah, it's so fancier. It's got two bars on the capital G, like the swoop down on the left, and then it has this thing on the front that I honestly can't not see. Quailman.
Who?
Quailman from Doug. Remember when he put the belt on his head and he had like the little thing that like looped off the front?
Listen,
is that before your time? Tell me you watched
before my time.
You did not watch with Patty Mayonnaise?
I mean, I've seen episodes of it, but when it was on, I was like 6 or 7. So
okay, well, so it's got this kind of like forward little swoopy thing, kind of like an upside down capital J off to the right. So it kind of looks like a G with a couple slashes and a little Quailmail belt on the head, but it's a cool little logo. This is the guild standard currency. It's a 2x4 by 1 inch bar, uniquely mint of I assume some type of gold or thing.
I just love the Quailman.
Right? Dude, I wanted to claim up for Halloween so bad. The way to mint these bars has been lost to time. So the guild uses these as their default payment method, basically. So all other coinage is eventually hoped to kind of become guild bars. And there are ways on this page to do that. So I assume it's called guild is do they ever actually name what the money is called, or is it just the logo all the time? Is it a guilder?
One
One guild. Because it's got the you. So one guild is always a burden of one. So the game, real quick, let's call it like it's D20 roll under and very inventory based. So your loadout, your burden, and everything affects everything else. And we'll get to that in a minute. So that's why he's talking about burden here. And there is a thing that says see burden page 12, and it is hyperlinked. The bars become heavy in large amounts, require pack animals and hirelings. Payment is always received in these derivatives in these bars, gyms and everything. If you just have a small handful, it doesn't count towards anything. But as you get these bars, it counts towards everything. So the ways to convert your monies are one of these bars. It's worth 4 gold. Everything is a quarter higher. So 4 gold equals a bar, 4 silver equals a gold, 4 copper equals a silver. So it's a 4 standard.
Yeah, 8 shilling, 4 pence. Yeah, you know.
There you go, 4 pence. Yeah.
I love a dungeon crawling game that makes bars of money and treasure be a burden of weight. You know, I'm just like, that's perfect. You want that grittiness. You don't want to be like, oh, I can't carry everything out. Like, or if I do, like, I'm gonna do it at like a massive disadvantage.
Yeah, it's great, and that, and you know me, you know I love a good inventory system, and the thing about D&D, the thing about the world's most overhyped fucking role-playing game, is that it creates first of all, the gold standard is so fucking terrible. Streamlabs is all fucky right now, dude. Yeah, I'll have to you know what? Also, I don't know if any of that stuff works anymore since we made a slight change that I'll have to look at.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So I'll have to check literally all of that stuff. So anyway, the gold standard is all over the fucking place. The burden doesn't matter. When you look at a standard character, they are carrying like 400 pounds of weight. So within the first 2-3 sessions, they always get a bag of holding anyway. So what does it matter? Regardless. Anyway, so I do really enjoy that this is a burden-based game. I want
them to make that choice when they get in the dungeon. It's like, okay, well, like we have to get out of here, and we have all of this money. I'm like, yeah, sorry.
Sucks to suck.
You write yourself a little sticky note?
Yeah, because I got that's one thing that I forgot.
Listen, I know. You know?
Yeah. I got a nice, I can't remember what these are called, but a nice little spread of colors here. It's like an orange, a green, a pinkish. Wow. They're like tropical-y or something like that. They were on sale. It was like $2 for like 4 of these. So anyway, moving into the guild, continuing with the story of the guild. It's centuries-old organization of adventurers. They plummet and loot caves and ruins and treasure and make a name for themselves within their kingdom, because reputation is important. You dive headlong into ancient ruins infested by goblins and kobolds, evil wizards with dungeons, all sorts of stuff. You take jobs. You are given and choose your party wisely because survival is paramount and your paycheck is needed. You can rank up within the guild and you become renowned throughout the kingdom. And the kingdom is entirely up to the players or the guildmaster / GM, because you can actually roll to create the kingdom that you exist in. As in like the first page or kingdom name generator. So everything you need to do that I love games that do that, where you create the world with your characters in like a 0 session, because like every aspect of the game then is yours, you know? Yeah. So you create weapons, you create magics, you create monsters, you create everything, you create the world.
I'm doing great tonight. I'm really very helpful tonight. So
yeah, it's really just killing the game. So getting directly into aptitude. So the whole game runs around burden, loadout, and aptitude, basically. So aptitude, called APT, is the core mechanic. It relies on a balance between a character's abilities and the weight of what they carry. The heavier your loadout, again, hyperlinked, see page 12, the harder it is to accomplish what they want. Great word, loadout. The harder it is to accomplish what they want, the relevant attribute offsets. It used to be a different word. The relevant attribute offsets the character's loadout to create the attribute's aptitude. So, for example, there are spaces where there's examples here. We're going to point out some places where other examples could have been more helpful as well. But example here, Tess's might is 4. There's 3 stats. There's might, agility, and mind. So Tess's might is 4. Her loadout is 3. We'll get into what loadout constitutes in a second, but it's basically just the stuff you have equipped. Your loadout is 3. So your might aptitude is calculated as your loadout minus your might, resulting in a might aptitude of -1. Okay. So one of the things that I think I would have done slightly differently with this when we're talking about this is I think the next thing, the aptitude check, is 1d20 plus relevant attribute. So aptitude check is and saves are resolved by rolling 1d20 plus relevant aptitude. A success is a result lower than the required difficulty. If the result of an aptitude check is below 0, consider it a resounding success, and an additional benefit can be applied to the player's results. So it's d20 roll under.
Right.
I think this is a slightly wordy way of saying it's d20 rolled under, and I might have had that before the example, so that when they're reading the example, it becomes a little bit more
prepped for thinking about like, oh yeah, like lower is better, minus is good.
Minus is good, yeah. So, and I think like a real emphasis on like the d20 roll under part, and maybe a thing that actually says like minus it, the lower is better, like more emphasis on the fact that the d20 roll under system, because so much of this you're adding stuff to. So this system's a little bit different. I really enjoy the core mechanic, but it's a little bit different because you are subtracting to get an attribute score, which is very different than most systems. And even for people that have played games, you know, like this before, especially roll under games, it takes a second for your brain to kick into it, you know? Yeah. So a little bit more explanation here in the beginning, maybe in a little bit different order, might have been like, might be slightly helpful for that. And then it says, if a certain check doesn't fit any of the aptitudes available, players make an argument for one or roll a flat d20 versus a difficulty. That's fine. I feel like you can always kind of put it in. But so to calculate might, I
like having stuff like that though. Like honestly, in my table, we would probably figure out like we would fit it to something each time. But I do like when things give you the license to be like, just roll. You know, like it's like, you know, it's just giving you the option. I feel like we've had this discussion about other things before where they're like, you know, if in this situation, you could just do this. And it's like, yeah, you know what? I mean, you could. So,
yeah, you know, it's a fine balance, I think, between kind of like there was an interesting article that someone wrote one time, and this is not applying to this. It came up in my mind where they said there's a difference between like writing a game light and writing kind of like fuck you writing in gaming, where it's just like, it feels like, is it light or did you just not think enough about how you wanted the game to run, so you're just like, you figure it out. And this is not that by any stretch of imagination, but there's always a fine line between like, you can let the people running the game decide, and I just didn't decide, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah. So there's a thing here that says for might, agility, and mind, it's loadout minus each. Loadout minus might is your aptitude. Loadout minus agility is your aptitude. Loadout minus mind is your aptitude. So there are example difficulties, which are 15, 10, 5, and 1 for easy, average, hard, and extremely. I probably would have just said extreme there. And then there is another little box here. Aptitude only changes if might, agility, or mind is increased, or if a player changes equipped armor, trinket, or weapon types. The A on some of this gets lost. I think that maybe I just have like an old version of the PDF, because I'm pretty sure that's been changed. Yeah, it's not in the book at all. But my PDF has like the A getting like chopped out in a couple weird spots with the italics. I don't know why. But yeah, I think maybe I just have an old version. So I will say this is probably a good page to talk about one of the critiques that I think we have in the game. The layout a little bit throughout the book is I would probably say like one of the weaker parts of the whole product. The font is huge. I think it could have been smaller to fit more on each page, and the gutter and margins, the gutter is basically non-existent, and the margins are very small and inconsistent throughout the book. And it just kind of...
I think I take more issue with the gutters and margins than I do with the font size. I'm like actually okay with how readable it is. Because like physically holding it, like a lot of times we read something on PDF and then when I hold the book, I'm like, man, the book's just not as readable. And sometimes vice versa. There are many instances of both. But this one, I'm like, it's big on the PDF, but holding it, I'm like, oh, yeah, but you know what, man? Like, I can really read it. I can really read it in this, which I almost would rather take. I do agree with the inconsistencies in the margin. And yeah, like in the boxes, the kind of like...
it's inconsistent spacing and everything.
Yes.
But like, for example, like if I hold up one of the pages in the book, like the margin is like a centimeter. It's like basically nothing. And I think I do like having the size of it bigger, but also there's like a size of the font on the back of the book right here that I think would be a perfect size, the one right under the top. And I think it would have just given a little bit more room to kind of make the layout a little bit different. But the margins, I don't know, it feels like someone's texting me in all caps, kind of like a lot, you know what I mean?
Are my eyes getting bad?
I mean, again, I think the size is great.
They are.
Yeah. But I think the margins, especially like throughout the entire thing, I think they could have just been a little bit bigger, and the inconsistencies of like the margins throughout. So for example, like at the top here, it's a very, very small margin for like aptitude above this black bar, but at the bottom there's like a big white space at the bottom. So I think like bringing the margins in and having a more consistent space throughout the entire thing would have helped with the layout in general.
I think another great example is the padding within the boxes. If you go down to the difficulty or the example difficulty and you look at the padding around things to the edge of the box, but then you go to the box above it or below it, it's like the padding's all gone, so it's kind of touching the edges of the box like it's trying to break out, you know? Yeah.
And just like a little bit layout wise, like I love these like boxes for explaining stuff, but like visually, if this box is actually black and the font was like white inside of it, especially the bottom one, that has like that one doesn't feels less like giving you information, more of like a tip or something like that. It would have been nice to have that, and that could have even just been like a black box at the bottom with like a thing in it to give a little bit more like highlighted information. But yeah, I think that's throughout the thing, that's one of the things that I think is the most inconsistent is the layout and the margins and paddings. And like you said, things aren't centered. There's not consistency throughout. Some of the margins of different pages are in different spots. I would say that would be, if I had like the biggest critique about this, it would just be the general throughout the whole thing, and just areas where there's like, I don't know, we'll talk about that as we go through. But yeah, that would be that. So getting into An Adventurer is Born. This is how to do character creation. So you roll 1d4 plus 1 for each of your attributes, which is do you want to do a character throughout this? I
was already doing it.
So you d4 plus 1 for might, agility, and mind. And then you roll on the tables provided. I'm going to use
an actual character sheet for this.
Fuck yeah. Well, you get a whole pad.
I know. I love a pad of character sheets, dude.
Bro, the character sheets are really, really nice too. We'll get to an example at the back of the book, but you can just see like it's a thick fucking pad of character sheets, and it's really, really nice. And there's a thing in the back of the book that I love in games, and we'll get to it, where there's actually like an explainer sheet of like how to fill out your character sheet. It's a great example of what to do. So it's nice to have that. It's a great sheet.
I rolled 3 4s.
Dope. Fuck yeah. All right. So you got 4 4 4 across the board. Damn. Okay. So there's an example on page I think this got chopped a little bit. I think it might be 26. But it is also hyperlinked. So you first roll your 3 stats, and then you roll on all the tables provided to create your adventurer. So first you roll a heritage, which is D12. There's farmer, smith, minstrel, unknown, weaver, mason, soldier, cobbler, barber, carpenter, tailor, noble, and noble. So whatever you roll, and maybe 1 or 2 more, we'll just talk about what the heritage gives you. So what did you roll?
I rolled a barber.
Dope. Okay, so what barber? What number is that?
It's so funny that I rolled a barber.
Right. So barber, the child of a much relied upon surgeon, because barbers back in the day were often surgeons. Watching and training and carefully slicing, carefully slicing and sewing has given you a slight upper hand with small blades. Add -2 to all attacks with concealed weapons. That's dope. Ooh. Yeah. So minus is better because you're doing a roll under. So that's that. So this is one of the examples of things I was talking about. Like I wouldn't have minded this piece of spot art on the top of 8 to not be there. It could have given a little bit more room underneath to bring up maybe another 6 up to the page above it, and then you could have maybe had enough room to put the spot art big on the bottom of this page, and it just would have been like a little bit cleaner. But there's some areas where there's like, so the bottom right of page 9 just has like a big thing here that maybe could have been like a little piece of spot art or something, or just like readjust the layout a tiny bit to have a little bit less there. Then you do personal. I've looked at this so many times, and it says personal effects. That should be effects.
Should it be?
Yeah. So personal effects is, yeah, Google that. Personal effects is weightless unless noted. You roll 1d30. How would you roll the 1d30 without an online generator? What would you do?
Ooh, a 1d30 without an online. I would use an online generator. Yeah, I would go to anydice.com or maybe .org. .com.
But
yeah.
roll me a 1d30, and this is your personal effects. They're weightless. They're just stuff that you have. So, like for example, number 1 is chewing leaves, bush root, and a clump of mint. Ooh, someone is not a Oxford comma user. What did you roll for your 1d30?
Hold on. There we go. 15.
Ooh. You got a red flute, stretched fox skin, and a wooden mallet. So there is an asterisk on this that says items with this symbol are heavier than most others and are 1 burden. So your wooden mallet is a burden to you.
Just have a wooden mallet. You know, from my barber background, you know?
Yeah. Well, listen, your barber plays a lot of croquet. Yeah, as a surgeon. I think I said a red flute. It's a reed flute because I can't fucking read. And then guild motivation. I love this page so much. So it's already a guild. You know that you're doing stuff. There's a built-in motivation regardless. Leveling up in your guild, getting money, all of that. But a lot of games, we've talked about this numerous times, will create a cool world, will give you a cool system, but not give you any fucking reason to do anything. Like, why are you leaving your home to go do stuff? So I love this. So there's 4 motivations that you could have in your guild. It's glory, gold, gore, and guts. Love all the G's. It's a great mix of stuff here. So glory, yeah. So glory is your only motivation. It's to be renowned and revered. So what did you get?
1.
Oh. So I'll continue to read.
Glory.
You want renown and revere throughout the guild and the rest of the kingdom. Ranking up in the guild costs 10 guilds less per rank after apprentice.
Oh, cool.
That's dope.
Oh, that's actually sick.
Yeah. So you pay to upgrade in the guild, and we'll get to that too. So 2 is, I'm gonna go through all of these because I really like these a lot. So
yeah, there's like gold, 4 and they're good. So yeah.
Yeah. You only care about one thing: shiny metal plaques of gold. Always find an extra +2. Is there a name and I'm completely missing it? I'm gonna call them guilders. 2 guilders in chests or treasure storage. Number 3 is gore. You love killing. Your party is careful to stay out of your range. On every killing blow you make, add +3 damage to the next hit.
I mean, it says ancient gold bar is G, so it's like.
Oh, so Kirby said guilders is great. But it's just gold, but now it's guilders. You can even put a G in there and have it be guilders as in like the guilders, you know, like it's a thing. That's what it is now. Yeah, and then guts, you're meek but determined to overcome weakness you see in yourself. Your determination gives you an edge. At the start of combat, gain -2 to your first roll in every combat encounter. Love that. You know?
Yeah.
Leave it. Bio or whatever. So additional character information. Listen, honestly, I have not finished Naruto Shippuden, but
really
No, because until I guess the war happens, it's trash, and I still to this day will not say that the best arc in all of Naruto that I have seen is the Sasuke retrieval arc, because they become men in that arc, and it is like
arc. The pain, like it's the pain arc, man. It's like fights pain. Like
you know when I stopped watching Naruto Shippuden during the pain arc, when he gets to the pain cave and does his talk no jutsu and is like, hey man, I know you're sad, it's cool, I'm sad too, let's be friends shit, and I'm like, I'm done.
I know you.
I just give me
that I know you.
give me the honestly hot take here. If the show was called Uchiha and it was the story of the Uchiha clan, it would have been a much better show.
Man. I mean, it is kind of the story of the Uchiha clan.
It is the entire story of the Uchiha clan.
Pulled back large way, yes.
Yeah. Anyway, so additional character information. You wield your trusty but feeble weapon. Feeble weapons use either agility or might aptitude. The examples are wooden chair leg, Aunt Lorenza's femur, a splintered broomstick. So this gives you a loadout and a value, but I don't. So it also gives you this D3 table and then a damage thing here. But there, at this point, there's not really an explanation of what that means. Like, why is there a D3 table and why does damage change? I also would not have minded not having these brackets on the D3. The table, just the table in general, since there's so much space at the bottom, could have just been like a larger table, could have been in like a box for both, could have just been a little bit more, because the size of it becomes smaller than all the font above it, and leaves a lot of space on the bottom. But there's no explanation here for what this means until you get much later to the weapon page, where it kind of explains, like, you roll, I think when you find it, to see how much damage your femur does. So you could roll a 2 and that femur does like 1d2 damage as opposed to something else. So there's a variation of the weapons you find.
You found a really good solid femur, you know.
Yeah, Aunt Lorenza's. She was big boned. We'll just say that. I'm gonna keep what I was gonna say to myself. And then you wear frail and pathetic armor. Example, a plow horse's blanket, your parents' nightshirt, a cracked wine cask with shoulder straps. The loadout is 1 and the value is 0. You can roll a d4 to give you different armor ratings. So, I'm
gonna go ahead and hold on, I gotta roll real quick. I mean, you keep going. I'm gonna keep rolling. Keep rolling. What?
Oh my god, that hurts my soul. So flip a coin to determine if you remember to bring a somewhat functioning shield. And then it tells you it's a 6 rating with 2 loadout and no value, or a broken trinket, which is a 1d2 essence, 1 potency, and 1 loadout, no value. So we'll get to trinkets. If you carry the amulet, decide which magics you know from the magics table, which is on page 30. Players carry up to 15 plus might in their inventory, referenced as burden. Your loadout is the weight of only equipped weapons, armor, and trinkets. Anything not in current use does not count towards the loadout. Small items the size of a hand can be stored at no cost. There's an explanation of armor rating. It relates to how much damage the armor takes before permanently breaking. So damaged armor is repaired by the guild. So as far as I can tell here, armor is not soak. Armor is like points that get broken down, which in a burden-based system is fucking fantastic, because like you absolutely have to keep having more inventory, which is I love it. It's so great. So what did you roll for your feeble weapon damage and your pathetic armor?
So for my femur, because that's what it is, I rolled a 1d2 femur. Okay. So it does either 1 or 2 damage. And then for my armor, for my leather stuff I'm wearing, I actually rolled a 4. So it has a rating of 8. I know. So
that's interesting for just pathetic armor. We'll look at armor later to see how it kind of scales
really
a little
good
bit.
Pathetic armor. It's as good as the pathetic armor could get. So
yeah, literally, and that's 8 points of damage you can take on like what could be like your parents' nightshirt. But when we get to armor, we'll explain that a little bit more.
That's what it's my parents' nightshirt now. Perfect. Yeah, absolutely. You know.
There you go. From the barber. It comes with that little like the little hat too, with the thing. So armor rating relates to how much damage armor takes. Damage armor is repaired by the guild blacksmith for a fourth of its value. A fourth or 4 is a thing throughout this slot, and I like when there's consistency with stuff like that. I love 3s, 4s are great. Yeah. Broken armor is repaired for half value. Once it's broken, it doesn't do anything for you, and you could die. On some occasions, injuries to aptitudes may be used as negative effects from poison or other such debuffs. They can also be replaced with permanent bodily harm. See the critical effects and death page, which is hyperlinked. Certain items might be necessary to purchase from the guild for your bounties or delves. And then the guild always offers these items and more at these rates. I think that A is there. But in other places, they may be priced higher to accommodate. So there is a list of items here. See, but this table here seems more consistent. Like the padding, the margins, everything is nice across this. Absolutely. I think using this as an example throughout the entire thing would have been nicer than some of the tables that are just like the bar in the middle without the whole box. I think this box style would have been nicer for some things all the way through. There's 10-inch pole, there's 25-foot rope, there's iron spikes. It gives you your value and the burden. So a lot of times what you'll get through everything is value and burden, is how much is it worth, but how much does it cost you to carry it. So some things might be worth that and might not be worth that, which is really cool.
Yeah, there's a fun like balance of like values. Like there's two different ones, the coin and not just the coin, but like the weight of it and the other qualities of it that goes on through this entire game. And I could just see a lot of really like kind of hard choices being made in dungeon at the time. It's just like, oh fuck, do I keep this or do I keep this? My armor is destroyed. It does nothing for me, but it still weighs something. Do I keep it on me or do I ditch it and try and make it out with as much as I can and maybe buy myself some new armor on my way or when I get out, you know? Yeah. And I love those moments where like I'm already in here. Like I know exactly what these moments are going to look like. And I'm going to enjoy watching my player characters make these decisions where they're just like, oh, that sucks. Why do I have to choose?
Right. But the example you did, it was fucking perfect because, broken armor, it still only costs half to fix it. But if you're close to leveling up and you need as much gold as possible, you're like, fuck, I need the money, but I have to buy the shit. One of the things about the character section that might have been a little helpful too, we love a nice numbered list. If there is a numbered list that says like number 1, roll 4D. We do love
steps. Here are the steps making a character.
Yeah, roll heritage, roll this, roll that, do that. I think that'd be a nice little thing. You could also, like I said, get rid of this piece of like spot art at the top, have like that list here, and then just kind of clean up these 2 pages a little bit as far as like the little bit extra on the thing, and that would have been cool. But yeah, we do love a list of numbered steps. Next, we're getting into working in the guild. I will say, so this is working in the guild, but when we're talking here specifically about things like armor and weapons, I might have moved the armor and weapons section up under this section right away, as opposed to putting it like much later in the book, so that here, let me click these ellipse and go back to the table of contents. Boom. So we're talking about working in the guild, and then armaments is like 3 or 4 down. And armaments before fighting might have been nice too, so then you understand the fighting rules a little bit more based on like what you're wearing and fighting with.
Yeah, that's fair.
So let me click this hyperlink here to go right back to where I was. Boop. Look at that. Look how nice that is.
Extremely usable. So
yeah. So underling bounties. Working in the guild. At the beginning of a campaign, players create their underlings, and together with the guild master choose which type of adventure they begin with. So you start as underlings. So you're not even a fucking apprentice. You're not even in a guild yet. Right. And you can choose to either do a funnel style adventure, which I think would be perfect for this. I love it. Who doesn't love a good funnel?
I love that that's in here. I think not enough games immediately go, hey, you can run a funnel with this. And like, because I think that is one of the best ways to open up for a group for a new game. It's just like, create a bunch of people and watch it. See who can have the most spectacular death. That is what I tell my table. I'm like, the unwritten rule of this is see who can have the most spectacular and idiotic death.
And listen, you get a guilder. You start with 2 guilders. You know what I mean? Like do something. Like I know we're gonna get to DCC eventually. I really would love to play some DCC before we review DCC, and I would really love. Yeah, I would love to get a grasp of it because we have some people in our community that are very about gooey. DCC.
Yeah, they're very. And now I know DCC players independently in my own life, and they're also like that.
It's a cult, but it's a good one. I would like to at least dabble in it. But I really want to play Starless Sea so bad. Like I just want to have that experience of of getting to be like, I got to play that before I ever read it. You know, I died 18 times.
If you listen to this show at all, you could never tell that we have ADHD. You'd never be able to tell. Like, we're so on point the entire time.
And I went with coffee instead of Adderall to start the episode today. So we are killing the game. So yeah. So anyway, so Underlings funnel style is the way to go. Players could choose to create more than one. That's how the funnels work. Alternatively, Underlings accompany a guild champion or on a bounty or hired job. In doing so, the mettle of the new guild members is put to the test during the adventure. Whenever combat encounter occurs, players roll 1d10. The lowest result takes control of the guild champion. At the end of the adventure, the guild champion pays each underling 1d4 plus 4. However, any additional treasure goes to the champion. I actually also really enjoy that a lot. The fact that you're just a bunch of like, you know what that is? It's the first adventure that Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura went on with Kakashi, where those guys attacked him, and you remember how like they had like the chains, and he turned to, and then he had like he did the thing where he like choked them both, and they were running in on the people. That's what this is, because it's no before the bridge.
Before the bridge.
It's like literally the first outside adventure. It's those two dudes come. And like they have like the chain thing that wraps around, and they think Kakashi's dead, and then Sasuke jumps in front of Sakura and he's ready to fight, but then Kakashi like double clotheslines him.
Oh yeah, vaguely. Wow, it's been a real long time since I've seen that early on. So.
That's what this feels like. Is you're just a nobody with no power, and you have this like great person that goes with you. You test your mettle. Someone's there to protect you. But I love the idea of roll to see who gets to control that person each time, because you get like an intro into the game, because underlings don't have the same abilities that everyone else has, but each combat you could also have a thing where you just like rotate who gets to take care of them or who gets to control them each time. You can like kind of like test how a higher level character works without having the burden of like needing all of it at one time. That's a
very clever idea. I do like that. So yeah,
I think this is a really great way.
I have not seen Goblin Slayer, so
nah, I saw the first episode because everyone said I gotta watch the first episode, and that was it. Don't forget to pay your dues. After every job, the guild takes 10% before payment. Another piece of spot art here. It's kind of a complicated piece for a size this big. I almost would have instead liked this don't forget to pay your dues thing as like a bar across the bottom, filling in that bottom space. Yeah. I think more black bars and boxes, because I love the black bar across the top of each page. I think more use of that throughout the layout would have been really, really nice. It kind of in like a I think me and Kirby did that one, kind of like a Dead Halt style. Would have been, I really like that. So working in the guild, getting promoted. So this is what I'm talking about. So like before fighting, before armaments, before all that, we're talking about like promotion in the guild. I wouldn't mind if it switched a little bit, or if this kind of stuff was like before the character stuff, like just a little, this feels kind of like it's in the middle when it could have been above or below. So do you want to go through working in the guild? Do you want to tell us how you get promoted? Or?
Yeah, working guild. So we have a nice little table that shows your underling, apprentice, journeyer, expert, in champion, and the cost associated in now coined guilders, but ancient gold bars essentially. When a player reaches the apprentice rank, they may have access to the guild's resources, hirelings, pack animals, trainers, and smiths. Really like that. I like that there's a benefit to the guild, but you got to get in first. You got to make it. If the table would like to start the game at apprentice level, each player chooses one item from the armaments table they want to outfit themselves with. If the table wants to start with an even higher rank, the guildmaster doles out 10 plus players in ancient gold bars, guilders, per rank to each player, which they can then use to purchase any upgrades from the guild that they want. I gotta tell you right now, I would always start as an underling. I'd be like, you guys are total pieces of shit. Like, you're gonna earn your way up from the bottom, Absolutely. I mean, I am also a fan. I am a fan of like the first few levels of any game, almost always like, I'm like, yeah, you have nothing and you're suck at everything. You're really going to try for this,
Yeah.
It's going to cost you blood. It's going to cost you sweat. And you guys are going to stress about this.
Yeah. So. I really, so with people that, so for, let's take 5e for example, because we both played it. When I would play with people that had previously played it, I would always start with like level 3 or level 5 because it's fucking pointless to do the early levels.
Right.
But the early levels, if you've never played it, I would just power level, where on session 1, you're level 1, and session 2, you're level 2, on session 3, you're level 3, and then just kind of go and then decide how to do it from there. But because if you start new players at level 3, like you just said, they never understand what it feels to have like no armor and 4 hit points. You know what I mean? Like it's a great way, and this is it's built in.
You're like, all right, well, hey, listen, one hit from a bugbear, bro, you're dead.
Yeah. So ranks, yeah, underling, apprentice, journeyer, expert, champion, and then the cost to go up.
Bonuses. I did not talk about bonuses.
Yeah.
The bonuses are pretty fucking sweet. So like when you get to journeyer, it's like the increased like 1d6 carry weight, which is like a big one. And then the gilder bonus per job 1d4. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So like as you get better, you make more and you can carry more. It's like a very God, what's it called? When it's not like a flat growth, it's
linear? No.
What?
Exponential?
Yes. Very exponential, like potential growth, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense, because at underling you get nothing. The apprentice you just get the gilder, and then it goes, your carry weight goes from journeyer D6, expert D8, champion D10, and your bonus for journeyer goes from D4 to expert to D6 to champion to D10. So there's definitely like a stepwise up advancement. Like that's huge. Like an extra 1d10 carry weight is fucking huge, and especially in this system. I think this piece of art at the bottom might not be centered. But the next part is hirelings. Paying hirelings to do heavy lifting is a privilege granted to official guild members. So the difference between underlings and hirelings, you get to be an underling, but you can hire hirelings. Hirelings will only engage in combat encounters that they feel is absolutely necessary. All hirelings deal 1 damage. They have hit dice, which are d8, which is their health. But also many hirelings, burden is the total carry weight that they have. And you can also rent pack animals, but renting isn't cheap. Purchasing pack animals is an alternate option. However, a pack animal is 3 times the cost up front, and there's HD for the pack animals. So there's 2 tables here. Again, I like these tables a little bit better. They just seem like they're a little bit more consistently sized and stuff. Yeah. Well, there's so much room on this page here that the whole thing could have just been a bigger, you know, across the board. So hireling, burden, cost, and HD. Your hireling, there's a single, a pair, a gang, or a pack. A single is considered 1d8. They can have 1d8 burden. A pair is 2d8. Gang is 38. Pack is 48. The cost of the hirelings up is 10, 20, 40, or 60, and the HDs are 1, 2, 6, or 10. And then with pack animals, goat, pig, pony, cow, horse, or draft horse. The pig can carry more than the goat. I feel like maybe that should be switched, because I feel like
the pig can carry more than the goat.
Yeah. And then there's burdens 10, 35, 80, 140, 180. A draft horse can carry 250, which is just crazy. The costs go from 30 to 40 guilders, and HD go from 1 all the way up to 8. The pig gets 1 plus 4. Could have tweaked that box out a tiny bit and then done the plus 4. Working in the guild upgrades. Again, so I think one of the things is the consistency with the boxes. So these all have boxes around them, but if you go to the next table, it doesn't have a box around it. I wouldn't mind it having a box around it.
I just want to play as the fucking knight who owns the pig that drags everything around on his pig.
Right? The pig knight. Yeah. You can have the pig knight with your mallet, and your badass extra double thick flannel parent nightgown. When you're granted, so these are guild upgrades, you can get granted those. You get access to things like smiths or trainers. You can upgrade all sorts of stuff, but upgrading a bladed weapon and a blunt weapon each once costs 4 guilders. Again, I love the consistency of 4s throughout this lot. Upgrading either a second time is 6. Same goes for magic. Each upgrade adds +1 to the item. Trinkets can gain +1 to potency and +1 to essence. We haven't really talked about trinkets or essence or anything yet, so we'll get to that. And then there's weapon armor. Attributes, trinket, and magic upgrades, all on the table provided. So there's an upgrade, and then there is a cost. So your first upgrade is 4, second is 9, third is 15, fourth is 25. So you can keep upgrading, but I like that it increases in the cost. I'm curious why 4, 9, 15, 25, as opposed to like an exponential, like a 4, 8, 16, 24. But yep, piece of spot art here on the bottom, which is neat. I like this scimitar with the kind of like buried branch. Okay, so we're getting into combat, which if you scroll, we're gonna scroll forward a page. I love this piece of here on the bottom. This is obviously another piece of like Kim Home. Is it home, right? Like I want to make sure I'm saying that correctly. Another piece by Kim here at the bottom, which is a person holding a dead or dying person with a very like splatter style, but there's like blood on this one, so there's like blood splatter across the bottom. Yeah. Love this piece of art. Like this stuff is definitely what shines through is the art on this thing. So fighting in combat, I will say some of the ways that is described in here I might have done a little bit differently, but so combat is resolved in turns taken in any order that the table has predetermined. A simple guide might be using the agility aptitude scores from ascending to descending. I might have just said, do that, or you could determine a different way per your table instead of like saying, do whatever you want. But here's an example. I might have been like, here's what you could do, but you could do something else. Guild members declare which enemies they are attacking, and those enemies respond to them. If more than one player is attacking the same enemy, that enemy's target is determined by the guild master. After each player has taken their turn, the enemies make their attacks. The guild master may choose to ignore the enemy's turn altogether for weaker foes or for faster combat. I like that. I like that little aside in here. This is one of those options that could have been like a black bar or something in the loadout to like
something a little like a little set off as like actually an aside.
Yeah, for the like guild masters, you can choose to do this kind of thing. So the next part is a part where like I had to read a couple of times the first time I read it. So it says melee attacks will always be rivaled by the target of the attack. The ranged attacks, however, will use the target's attack roll as a dynamic difficulty, meaning a spellcaster needs to beat the enemy's attack roll to hit it from afar. If a ranged attack misses, the targeted enemy may take the option to close the gap for the next round, take a free attack against the closest melee target, or any other move the GM sees fit to make. We'll stop there and talk about this paragraph. One, I love the idea first.
I do like functionally, this is great.
Specifically the part that I like, specifically the part I like the most about this is on a ranged attack, if you miss, the enemy gets to automatically close with you if they want. I love that. Maybe
we should have started with what it's saying by melee attacks will always be rivaled, is that this is an opposed check. Like,
yes,
combat is opposed.
Right.
So that's
I would have used the word opposed. Immediately. Yeah. Right off the bat. It took me a while to be like, I don't understand, and then we have to keep reading through it. So melee attacks are opposed checks.
That range attack rule is great. I like the dynamic difficulty. Like I like it's like, I mean, they stumbled this round, so it's like the enemy rolled like shit. So it's like, well, you're gonna fucking hit them this round because they rolled like shit. They stumbled or whatever. But you with it, man, and they get to run up on you. Amazing. Fantastic. So really good.
Couple of things though, like you use the target's attack roll as a dynamic difficulty. There's no real explanation of enemies yet at this point, so to even know what the enemy attack roll doesn't really have a thing. An example of play for combat would have been fucking huge. Like I love this piece of art here on the bottom, but this whole half a page at the bottom could have been a walkthrough of combat that would have made this so much cleaner and easier.
I mean, I personally would have broken up the section and been like, how is combat resolved in time wise, like. And then how do turns work? How does attacking work? How's melee attacking work? How does range attacking work? Yeah. Like I would have really broken it up instead of explaining it all as one piece, as one continuous thought. Just to be like, okay, combat's turns and rounds. This is how initiative works or doesn't. Combat is opposed. You'll roll, enemy rolls. Like, yeah.
Even a numbered list of like, this is the order in which things go would have been great. Well, I'm going to finish this and we'll finish this first page and we'll talk a little bit more about it. So, but losing the attack roll against enemies forces players to take the brunt of the damage on their armor or shield. Enemy attacks do double damage if they win the roll by less than 10, full damage at less than 5, and half damage at less than 1. So this is another one that I had a little bit of a thing with. So losing the attack basically means that if you roll less than the enemy gets to do damage to you.
Right.
And then it can go against your shield or whatever. But if the enemy attacks do double damage if they win the roll by less than 10. So it's a roll under system. So my brain automatically goes, well, wouldn't it be if you lose the roll by more than 10? No, that's a greater than, it's a less than sign. An L is the less than sign. Those are less than signs. So, that's how I always remember less than is like, I was always taught that the 1 is less than, so it looks like an L if you turn it a little bit.
Y'all are making me think about it, and I'm
the little fish eats the big fish. Yeah. So less is on the left. Yeah, the little fish eats the big fish. So, but that's exactly what I thought then. So it should be if they go by greater than 10, you get double damage. If it's full damage for greater than 5 and half damage if greater than 1. Am I right or am I wrong? Did you Googles?
Oh, sorry. I thought it sounded like y'all had it sorted out.
So, so the less than or greater than 1, I probably would have done that different because technically anything is greater than 1. So I guess like 10 is greater than 5, 10 is greater than 1. Enemies can do double damage. I think if the roll is 10 or more.
That is the less than.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So if they win the roll by I probably would have just would have wrote by more than 10. Full damage if it's 5 to 10, and half damage if it's like 1 to 5, or if it's 1, or if it's by 1. So basically, I really love.
The more they beat the shit out of you in the roll, the further away they get from your roll, the higher up it's like it's. I like the idea though. Like I like the whole like, oh, they rolled way better than you. They're gonna beat the fuck out of you, guy.
I love it. An example here would have been fantastic, though, especially in the example of play. So basically what it sounds like is if because it's a roll under, if I were to roll a 15 and they roll a 4, they double their fucking damage.
Yes, that's how I'm reading it. Yeah.
And I love that mechanic. I think like that is an interesting way to do somewhat of like a mixed success but it's mixed success for damage.
I like mixed success for damage, though. Clever. I like that idea. Yeah, that's cool.
So good. So if a player is a target of an attack and does not wish to risk being hit, they may instead roll agility aptitude at a -4 bonus against the attack roll. A success means they've avoided the strike. A failure means they take the full damage. This is another part where I might explain that a little differently. I think that means on a bad guy's turn, when they try to hit you, as opposed to doing an opposed attack check, you could just instead do an agility aptitude check to avoid it, as opposed to even trying to do damage back. So I probably would have put that like on an enemy's turn, a player could instead do an agility aptitude check.
Yeah, I feel like this is kind of like what you can do on your turn, what you can do on an enemy's turn. Like I just feel like this would benefit from being broken up into smaller sections. I think that would make a world difference in like your understanding it, like compartmentalizing it into little bite-sized bits, especially for someone like me, because like I'm dumb and I like reading stuff that's like it just contains enough information for that one small block, and then you expand on that like kind of idea. So
I agree, yeah, completely. And then the last paragraph on this page says players may also flee. Once a player has fled combat, they cannot return until combat has ended. I like that. I will say let's go through the last 2 bits here, and then we'll talk about a little bit more. So attacking, there is a thing here. It says attacking. It gives a breakdown. Roll 1d20 plus relevant aptitude against the enemy's 1d20 plus attack modifier. That could have been.
That would be in that section I was just talking about, like how combat works, you know?
Yep, as opposed to being on the next page. So the lowest roll wins and deals damage accordingly. That literally just should have been a box under like as the aside like explainer to break this down. And then there's a killing enemy section. Weapon attacks and magic that hit enemies are assumed to bypass the armor worn and instead deal damage to their health. When their health reaches 0, they die. I don't understand that. So what's the point of enemies having armor at all if it's assumed to bypass the armor entirely? Am I misreading that?
Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember reading this part because I'm now like Wait, do enemies? Let me look real quick.
And then the additional notes, in the event of a tie, the attack roll always goes to the enemies, which I love. Fuck you, players. In the event the enemies or players would have a stealth attack, the stealthing party would instead make an attack roll with a -5 attached to the relevant...
Sorry, finish what you're saying.
Attached to the relevant aptitude, unless otherwise ruled by the guild master. I think that's a great... I like that, because basically... math-wise, it's not perfect, math people, but in a D20, a advantage and disadvantage is roughly a 5-ish.
Right. Yeah.
I'd like just being like, fuck it, just give them a -5. So it's a roll under again, so -5 is better. I'd like, if it's a stealth attack, they just get -5, and then you do your thing. I think that's a great little note here.
I think that's really enjoy that. I think that's totally good. Also, enemies have a type, and we'll get to a type example of the enemy: damage, hit dice, attack, and then a drop list. So they don't have armor. So I think maybe that's just like a wording issue. It's like, it's just assumed when you attack them that like you're not hitting their armor or anything. You're just doing direct damage to them.
So enemies don't get an armor score the way that people get an armor score. Their armor is
drop
aesthetic.
Like shitty armor and stuff, you know?
Gotcha. Yeah, gotcha. That makes sense. So I will say, one of the things that I read this a bunch of times before I realized it, how do players move in combat?
I don't know.
So yeah, there's not really an explainer for the amount you can move, if you get 1 move per turn. The only thing really is about fleeing, which I do enjoy the fleeing rule. Like, once you're gone, you're gone. So it sucks for you and it sucks for your party if you decide to run out. But yeah, so I really, really, really enjoy all of how this combat works. I just think maybe the way it's written could have been redone in a way that made it a little bit like broken down by what players can do, what enemies can do, the fallout for all of that. And I think there's enough room. Like I said, I do love this piece of art here on the bottom, but this could be broken out a little bit more, the examples put up in it, and maybe like an example of combat into this without having to add any other pages, and maybe putting this gorgeous piece of art from Kim on another page. But I just think in a game that's probably going to be pretty heavily combat, I probably would have had this higher. And I think just a rewriting of breaking it down a little bit more, player and enemy, what can be done, like how a round of combat rolls out, and maybe an example would have been a little bit more, would have been a little helpful in having it run a little bit, or having it be a little bit easier to run. Then we're going to get into the critical effects and death section. We're actually close to the end here. We're on page 19. There's 35 pages, but a lot of the ones towards the end are just tables. So if the result of attack is negative, because again, roll under, and the player has won the roll, they get a critical success to determine the outcome. If the result of the attack by the player is a natural 20, which is the worst you can do because it's a roll under system, the enemy has rolled any negative number, you get the critical failure table to determine the outcome. It's interesting that the critical failures are kind of like, you have to have a double whammy. So like, in order to have a critical success, you just need to roll negative. But in order to have a critical failure, you have to roll a nat 20 and the enemy has to roll negative. So the odds, I feel like the odds of that are pretty small. Maybe I'm misreading that. But yeah. And if attack ever reduces the player's armor to 0, that player rolls 1d12 on the armorless critical effects table. And if is that hyperlinked? It is! If the attack after the armor is reduced to 0, still had more points of damage equal to the player's might, the player dies immediately. So basically, if there's carryover from getting your armor to 0 and that carryover amount is equal to the amount of might you have, you're just fucking dead.
Nice.
I like that. I like insta death. Yeah. Like, what's it called when you can just fucking like I don't remember what it's called. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Sure. There's a way to just instantly fucking like kill somebody. Some attacks may hit a player's unarmored body part or pierce a piece of armor straight through, and character damage is necessary. Giving, yeah, that's it is. Thanks, Kirby. And character damage is necessary. Apply injuries to that character's attributes. Once a character has an injury to an attribute twice its original value, the character dies or is permanently incapacitated, whichever is more likely. Injuries can be healed after resting for a period of time determined by the guild master. And there is an example here. Tess was bitten by a giant rat. which is a minor enemy and has poison. So Tess now has +2 to might for 1d2 days or until cured by the rat's poisonous bite. So that caused an injury to Tess's might, right? So if her might was 4 and now she's at a +2, if you ever get to, what is it, twice your attribute? Yeah, twice. So if she has a might of 2, right?
Right.
And then she gets another injury for another +2, she's just dead because her might is now gone and she is permanently incapacitated. Yeah, it sucks. So I imagine in a dungeon, if you go and take a poison dungeon, there's literally a risk that you'll just get injuries directly to all of your attributes, and you're
That's
just dead.
amazing. I love that. So
it's great. It feels like just a hint of like the it's into the odd, right? That you once you get your HP, your hit protection down, you start hitting like your stats instead.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So there's like a hint of it, but in a different way that I really, really enjoy a lot.
I love stat damage. Like whether as an effect or like this is a great example of that. Like, yeah, too much will just kill you. It's like, yeah, I mean, that makes sense. You're taking damage directly to like your attributes yourself, you know, like past just like an HP thing. But yeah, very cool.
You are the ITO boy.
I am the into the odd guy. So because it's my favorite system. I rolled, by the way, on the armorless critical effects. But I'll tell you both my rolls because I rolled twice, because the first time I rolled on the armorless critical effects, I rolled a 1, which is die immediately and extremely brutally. Nice. I was like, oh, perfect. And then I rolled a 5. You are thrown through the air and impaled on a broken object nearby. One of your valuable organs is punctured and causing death in 1d12 minutes. All rolls gain +5, and you cannot walk for 1d2 hours, which was only slightly better than the brutally killed. But it was slightly better. This is another table. Like, I really like what's on this table, but damn it is hard to read, you know?
Yeah. A little bit. I mean, it's very, there is no space really between any of the things. So this is, I think, why a lot of tables have like a gray, like every other one, like a little shading behind it. I think that would have been super helpful. Also, the numbers here on the side could have been maybe centered, or like the D12 could have been like, it's just, it's a little far away. The numbers could have been centered onto the other side, but yeah, a little bit more space in between each one.
This is a great table. Like, actually pretty much everything that you can roll on this is brutal to like the extreme. And like definitely I felt like we really enjoyed making this table. Like, yeah, fuck yeah, you're gonna totally fucked up, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I would not be disappointed rolling anything on here. Like, everything on here is pretty good. So
it's so good. It's
your non-dominant hand is severed from your arm. Lose the use of your hand if it is not reached within 1d2 hours, bleed out in 1d20 minutes, all attacks gain +4. It's just like, holy fuck, dude.
It's everything is good, dude. Like, the attack tears a swath of flesh from your belly. Your spine is cracked by the blow. Your jaw is dislocated. Like it's so fucking good. Like, it's so good. Yeah. So yeah, so that's the armorless critical effects, and then there is the critical effects and death. So a 0 to 10 critical success, and then there is a 11 to 19 critical success. Is that, it's two different tables and there's 19, or is it critical successes when you? I don't understand these. Am I just stupid on this?
I have to reread the section, honestly. So
when you get a critical success,
right?
No, you're rolling a 1d10. There's 2 d10 tables. One is 11 to 19. One is, but is it because you rolled something that gave you a critical success? But it's impossible to get a critical success unless you roll negative. So is it just a d20 table broken into 2 d10 tables? And it says 0 to 10, but then it lists it 1 to 10. But so there must be like
attack, critical success. Yeah.
Sorry, we're, for the podcast out there, we're thinking, we're looking, we're reading.
I do not know.
And then there's a third one for a 20 plus critical success, which is another D10 table. So there's 3 D10 tables for varying parts of the thing. I'm waiting for Kirby to maybe throw a message and to explain a little bit. There's 3 different tables. I assume because of the ranges, it's based on like maybe rolls that happen.
Yeah. Seems like that.
So is it maybe it's the difference in the rolls when it goes negative versus like what they do. So, but there's a 0 to 10, 11 and a 19 and a 20 plus. But these are also fucking fantastic. These are critical success. So why don't you roll 3d10 and we'll just hit 1 from each table and we can see how fucking cool these are.
Yeah, these tables do slap tremendously. So,
dude, all the tables slap. Okay. Like they're so good.
Yeah,
and these are
really
much easier to read. Like the spacing is like much better on these.
So I got 1, 10, and 7.
All right, what'd you get? So 0 to 10, what was it?
So 0 to 10, 1. Your attack slaps the target with a heft that knocks the wind out of them briefly.
Cool. Nice. So
second table. Light. Yeah, light. Second table, 10. Both hands of the target are severed. It drops to the ground, pleading for mercy and bleeding from a stump. That's right, Count Dooku. You stay down there. And then 7, last table. 1 random party member is enraged and gleeful bloodlust by your visceral attack and gains -10 to their next attack. That's fucking crazy. You have to really whip that roll for that attack to not be a hitter, you know?
Seriously. The tables are so, like, these are so good. So Kirby said 3 tables for the differences between the negative result and the enemy's rolled result. That's what okay. So yeah, it's the difference between the rolls, because since you're rolling opposed rolls, you could theoretically, with your attributes and stuff, you could roll 20 plus. So there's a whole table for just really fucking somebody to pieces. The energizing roar, bloody success from your fatal strike gives the party -4. Like the tables are so good. And then there is a whole table for critical failures. It's a 1d20 table. Why don't you roll 1d20 on critical failures?
I rolled critical failure 13. The attack meant for you strikes true, but then deflects into an ally, dealing 1 damage.
Sick. So good.
Yeah. We get to the armament section next, I believe, right?
Yeah. Do you want to hit armaments?
Yeah. So weapons can be anything from any heritage or culture, as long as they maintain the damage, loadout, bonus, and value. What was it before loadout, Ryan?
Say that one more time.
What was it before loadout? Was it just load?
It was just load. Yeah, you could have,
I vaguely remember us making jokes about it when we were playing.
Vaguely. Yeah, go watch that creator cut again.
I should go back and watch it.
It was so good. It was so good. I would have been fine with it stayed load. Like, it was, I mean, just built in.
Listen, I've always said that, like, you know, tabletop RPGs with your friends is at least like 60% dick and sex jokes.
At least 60% dick jokes, even if there's not a dick at the table.
Yeah, so you roll for the results when the weapon is recovered. Okay, so there's multiple things I like about this. One, I like that it doesn't necessarily matter what the weapon is. You know what I mean? Like, it could really be like damn near anything if you just explain it in a certain way, you know? And I also like that there's a cool system for generating these weapons, like their damage, their value. Yeah, I like this. This is good. This is good for me. Mm-hmm. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I do really enjoy this. Like I said, I feel like this should have been higher. This should have been before fighting. This probably should have been before guild advancement and stuff like that. Or guild advancement could have been before. Like, there's just a little bit of like.
There's some movement all over that could be made. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I like finding you find a heavy weapon. It's like every time you find a greatsword, it's a different greatsword. You know, like it works slightly differently. It does a different amount of damage. It might be in better shape. It might be in worse shape. Yeah, really into that. You know, very variable weapons.
Well, and just the variance in the value and loadout too is really fucking great, because so you could have your feeble femur that does 2 damage every time, right? That is a loadout of 1, so it doesn't count really that bad against your stuff, right? But if you have that giant fucking greatsword you just talking about, and it's a loadout of 4, like 3d3, so it will automatically minimum do 3 damage. But is it 4d6? But here's the problem. depending on what you're fucking carrying, you could find the greatest fucking sword ever. You could roll for the highest value possible. You could roll for the highest damage possible and just be like, if I carry this, I have no armor. If I carry this, I have to drop half my fucking gold. Like, or every roll I have will be at like +4 and I'm fucked. You know what I mean? Like, you're basically disadvantaged on everything.
Yeah.
You know? So
yeah, this is like, this is a game. It really is like the peak of that kind of like trade-off hard decisions. I'm very dumb tonight, so it's hard for me to think of terms that we've used before.
It's choice. It's choice.
Mechanics,
If you've listened to the show at all, if you watched any stuff on the Adventure Archive, if you heard us talk about Sursa at all, one of their huge things that they really love is choice. And choice in games is such a huge part. It's one reason that 5e fucking sucks, because it gives you very little choice that actually matters, you know? So having a system like this where every choice you make matters is important, and that's one of the reasons I do love inventory systems. Like at one point we need to go over like Paris Grande or something like that, where it's a game literally built, it's a game designed for beating the dungeon and then finding like a dragon sword and how to get out, right? But having every decision you make, every choice be impactful on what you can do is huge. So a system literally designed around the burden that you have and what you can do while having that much burden, I love it. And I love the way that it's been applied to armor. It's been applied to weapons. And like you just said, the uniqueness of literally every fucking like bladed weapon you can pick up is going to be completely different based on loadout value and damage. Is so good. It's so well done.
Yeah. Trinkets.
Yep, we finally get to trinkets.
It has ranged weapons right above that as well. There's like weapons continue on. And then trinkets. So trinkets are items that harbor arcane power. This is your caster stuff. They look like anything from amulet, staff, tome, and can be from any heritage culture as long as they maintain their potency, essence, loadout, and value of the type held. Roll for the results when a trinket is retrieved.
No. So again, these are also really good. It goes from broken to weak to hollowed to arcane to precious. Various different potencies, various different things. The tome of blessings, a shard of the mighty wind, really great. I will say again, these tables I would not have mind like a full box across the thing, something, because even on this there's some consistency on the way they're laid out because the art has been put into different areas. So even on this page, like you can see, I'm pointing on my screen to the side because I'm a fucking idiot. You can see that like this is here, but like this is like pushed out this way, and this bar like it could have been just consistent throughout, or all pushed to the left, or centered even better in like a box. That would have been good. And then armor. Yeah, armor's the thing. So it's exactly the same thing. It goes from pathetic to cloth to light to medium to heavy to cumbersome to shields. And again, this now is all pushed to the left instead of having it consistent. So there's this little piece of spot art to the right.
Armor gets crazy high though. You're like 8's pretty good, but like man, it gets up there. You know, I mean, insane. Cumbersome. The 4 is 100. You know?
Yeah. Bro, like, that means you can take 100 damage before you ever need to worry about any damage to you at all, which is crazy. But the loadout is 1d4 plus 8. So it could 12. It could have you like.
But like, I feel like by the time you get this though, and you have like that bonus loadout or
plus 10, plus carry, 6, plus 8. Yeah.
It's like, it's, you know. That's the guy you see when you sit and having a beer in the guild and you see that one like high level knight walk through and just like, you know?
Yeah. I will say I like this piece of spot art here for the armor, but it looks like some of the edges of the art piece got kind of put on too. Yeah. So, but yeah. So again, this is just a little bit of the inconsistency in the layout stuff that we were talking about that it could just be cleaned up just a bit. And then, I like this section. When a weapon, armor, or trinket is looted as treasure, roll to determine its item quality. We talked about that. If the result for a weapon or armor is a 4, roll for possible permanent effect on the magic item table. Love that. Items will retain the damage rating, loadout, and value whichever type it fits in. And if a weapon or armor receives a magic effect, use the bonus of that magic as damage or rating adjustment unless a creative alternative is discussed and agreed on at the table. And then there is a gorgeous piece of this Kim Hum art again. I love this. I love that it's in the box. They put this little gray box across the top, but it is like, it looks kind of like a barbarian going after like a troll or were troll situation. It's
something big. Yeah.
It slaps so fucking hard. I really, really love it a lot. Great piece. So we get to Magick, and then we're basically done. So Magick comes in many forms and not all easily decipherable. Trinkets are used to harness Magics and contain them until they're ready to be used. Magics are only as useful or powerful as the imagination of the player in conjunction with the Guildmaster's adjudications, and types of magic are left vague. So players can memorize as many magics as their mind allows, but can only change magics they've memorized when resting. Learning magics requires time and safety. Just because a player finds a trinket does not mean that they can cast it. Defensive magics are generally enhanced by the potency of trinket, while harmful magics are generally enhanced by the essence of the trinket. These rules may fluctuate, but it's up to the GM to determine that, and other magics like service, utility, all that kind of stuff is based on other stuff. So when you look at the types of magic, there is a huge list. So magic, it's interesting that it's all the way at the bottom of the book, but is huge as far as the system goes and what you can do. So there's service, utility, small defensive, medium defensive, large defensive, major defensive, small damage, medium damage, large damage, major damage. And then the examples of these are, for service, you can create food. For large defensive, there's counter magic. For major damage, there's a volcano strike. And then there's a list of number of slots it takes and the bonuses that you get for it. I love the broadness of this system.
I do too.
Just, oh my God. I know you're the magic guy.
I am the magic guy.
This is such a great way to do it.
I do remember really liking it. It's like, I'm sitting here trying to remember what did my character have. I'm pretty sure I played a magic guy, which would not be unusual for me.
Wouldn't be surprised if you did it all. So it is interesting that it's a really mix of like, it's a broad Vancian system, which is interesting because it does require slots and things like that. And there's things that you need in order to use it. It's not just like a broad, you have this thing, right? But it's really enjoyable the way that they use it. But there's no but. I really like that a lot. And then on the next page, you get the weapon magic effect and armor magic effect table, which is also fucking cool. So like if you roll 0 to 69, I see what you did there. I know that's on purpose. There is no magic effect.
Definitely on purpose.
100% on purpose. So there's 70 to 80, 80 to 83, 84 to 90, 91, 92, 93 to 98, and 99. So there's a big list of things you can do. So 70 to 79 gives you weak damage bonus, which is +1. But if you go all the way to 99, it's a major damage bonus of +6. Plus, it's imbued with major damage magic. Like, insane if you roll a 99. Huge swing in things you can do here. And then the armor magic effect goes from none to weak, which is like +1 to enemy's combat roll, all the way down to 99, which is basically the same thing. +6 to the enemy's combat roll, plus it's imbued. So I think this is a little magical effect here on the side. I just feel like it's completely unnecessary on this page. And it also has that issue of having like a chop off bottom and like corner here.
Yeah, it's kind of clipped over, you know?
Yeah. And then this piece here, I love this, another piece of Kim Hum art. On the digital, it has a little bit of like a border here on the side, but on the physical, it's bled, so it's chopped. But it does have the same issue at the bottom where it's clipped at the bottom instead of being put all the way down. And then there is a page for enemies, and then we're done. So basically, there's not a lot of examples of enemies here as far as like, this is what a whole enemy is, but it's a table on how to build enemies that has examples. So they're categorized by size or strength. And then like, so for example, there's fodder, weak, minor, average, dangerous, deadly, and monstrous. Fodder, or a weak one, a minor one is a goblin or a kobold. It does 4 damage. It has 1+1 per hit dice. So it's like 8+1. It's got an attack of +1, and then it drops stuff. So you get the type, your example, your damage, your HD, your attack, and what it drops. Great list of stuff here. There's another list of jobs and bounties, which is like a 1d10 job list for jobs, modifiers, locations, for apprentices, for journeyers, for experts, for champions. Then you get to this page here at the end that we talked about. This is a big character sheet, because I think there's more digitally. No, it's the back, because on the back of the character sheets is the rest of your stuff. but it gives you a breakdown of how the system works. Because like we said, a little bit of the system requires a little bit of different math than I think people are used to in order to build their aptitude, because it's not just like roll this and it gives you that. You have to actually math it to determine it a little bit. So I love this page, how it actually highlights the areas and gives you arrows down to the things that you need in order to determine those things. So your items here arrow down to your loadout. So it actually says it's 3 because you have 1, 2, 3 here on these items. There is a burden because your gold is part of your burden. So it goes over here, which is added to your loadout, which then also goes to your burden. So it is your gold here, which is 2, your adventure gear, which is 1, plus your loadout, which is 3, gives you 6. That's your current burden. And then it actually arrows up to loadout to agility, and then it puts a minus down to your aptitude. So if you look at D on the right, it says calculate aptitude, subtract attribute from loadout. So loadout 3, agility 5 gives you a -2 right there. I know so it really, this sheet really helps explain with the dotted lines, with the arrows, with everything, exactly how to explain that. And it has A, B, C, D for explaining exactly how the loadout sheet works to begin with. So really cool, really well done. Great piece of art to wrap it up. And then we get to the adventure, the Gloomlight Hollow from Gabe Rivera of Copper State Games, which we are not going to read because we don't read adventures here. So you know what you do? You read the fucking book, or you buy the fucking book. That's how that works. And that is the end. And this is the back here. Lift your feeble weapons like towers towards heaven. So that is Guild. And we are going to go to a review. So we talked about this beforehand. It is right on the cusp of deciding whether it was going to be a full game or a... Yeah. Oh, why are you Kirby, bruh? You haven't been Kirby the whole time, have you?
It's me. I'm Kirby.
Well, we have talked about the fact that you are the same person. So we were on the cusp about this, but we actually did have a little chat with Kirby, and Kirby said, hit me with the whole fucking shebang, the full Monty, the whole big bag. So we are going to do the full game 5 metric review for this as opposed to the zine review. So for those that are unaware, and we did tweak it recently, there are 5 scores. We give 10 points for each for a maximum possible of 50. First is art and layout. So that is the visuals of the game. And that's it. So the art, the quantity, the quality, how it's used, the layout, which is the style and everything like that visually, right? Visual layout. Then we go to usability, which is things like bookmarks, hyperlinks, the way that the book is laid out, like mechanically, and how well it's easy to read. The rule set, which is if it's a new rule set, how well it's done. If it is an adapted rule set, how well it's adapted. Originality, catch-all for a little bit of setting, design, all that kind of stuff. Is it something new? If it's not something new, is it done in a new way? And value is bang for your buck, how much you get for the money you spend for the game. So art and layout, I feel like this is going to be the spot that has the biggest, I think we had the most critiques, is really, well, this and a little bit of the usability too. So as far as the art and layout, I love the cover. I love the Kim Holm art. I think the layout visually is probably the weakest part of the whole book. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I think like the inconsistencies in spacing, like margins, gutters, padding, boxes, like page layouts all together. Like, yeah, I think that is probably the biggest hit for me. I really like this game, and I really like playing it. I think it's a really cool game, and I like how the choice mechanic of weight. Yeah, I do think that part is it's a little messy to look at, and a lot of that does carry over in the physical, because I was looking at the physical as we were going through it, and we're talking about like a piece of art being off-centered, and I was like, maybe it's just off-centered in the digital, but it is off-centered in the physical as well. Yeah. So, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I think just to wrap up in my head as I come up with the number in my head, yeah, I think the margins are a little too small. I wouldn't mind the font being like 1 or 2 smaller. I know you said you like it big, but I think it just kind of like adds to like how oversized everything feels on the page.
It makes it feel a little busier.
Yeah, even if the margins were the same size, but the font was a little bit smaller, it wouldn't feel so, like, the page just feels like overburdened. Like it feels like very dense and full when it's really not that dense. I think the tables, there's a really inconsistency to the tables throughout, and I think there could have been a better use of some like black boxes or barred boxes or something for like specific like GM advice and things like that. So, I mean, I do really, the Kim Holm art is great, so points for that. But as far as the layout and stuff, I don't know. What are your numbers for art?
I mean,
and layout
this is hitting pretty low for me. This is a like 5 or 6.
I think 6. I think 6 for the layout for it, because again, the cover is great. The Kim Home art is great. I think the utilization of that. Yeah. So I think minimum is 6 for this, as far as that goes. So let me actually open Gene score numbers. Let's go to here. So I think we're on a 6 for art and layout. All right, usability. So there's no bookmarks, not a big deal. It's zine size. It's 35 pages, so like I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, and I mean, the ability to hit the thing to go all the way back up to
oh my god,
table of contents, and then choose table of contents to go back somewhere else. Like I at this point don't really need a bookmark for this.
No, you don't at all.
Yeah, I don't really need it. That pretty much is all I really need. I hope other games can pick up that if they're not going to have bookmarks, then something like this would be nice. Gotta really have one or the other.
But I mean, we can talk to Kirby too how easy this was, but like I know in like an Acrobat, like if I create a hyperlink onto a page, I can copy that page to another page. So if all you have to do is do it once and then just copy it to the corners of all your pages,
yeah,
just fucking just do that thing.
Seems
like why would you not just do that?
Why would you not? Yeah.
Inline hyperlinks, completely hyperlinked table of contents. Huge.
And like none of them are skipped. There's an inline hyperlink in here that takes you to the next fucking page. It's like every inline hyperlink you could possibly, every page references immediately. Like I'm like, oh, okay, that's pretty great. As far as
links, real quick, and the links out to all of the artists and extra people's pages too is really big. Great. Yes. To be able to click on your editor or like even the creator of the adventure, all goes out to those pages too. So yeah.
Where this is going to take some hits for me personally is dividing up a lot of these sections into subsections to better compartmentalize information and make it more of a step-by-step process of learning instead of a like longer form, like this is how all of combat works. Like break that up into sections and explain it more bite-sized. And the order of some of these sections could be mixed around a little bit so that you have a little bit of a point of reference going into other sections. Yeah,
100% agree. Yeah, 100% agree. I think the usability features perfect for a 35-page zine plus adventure. Can't really ask for more than this as far as what there is for that. But yes, usability as far as there were parts that I had to read a couple of times and then go find the other part to get the explainer to go back to the other thing. Especially like weapons and armor. Yeah, I think like you said, for most of the parts, I don't think it's bad. I think the fighting part is the part that really stands out as the part that really needs to kind of like be broken into some sections. Agree. Yeah, but I think everything else works fine. I think, and the other thing too is it's one of the only sections that doesn't have examples in it that has like specific mechanics written. Mm-hmm. Like aptitude has examples that really made it a lot easier, things like that. So some hits for that as far as just usability in that. So, but it's kind of like a mix for me between how well the usability features work versus
that definitely bumps up for me. I'm about a 7 for this one because the hyperlinking, the inline hyperlink, and the return to the table of contents, like that's way up here, you know. And even though like I have an issue with the order and it not being broken up, like I think it's still a usable game. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Well, again, we're critiquing everything we can critique. You know, not pulling any punches because that's what we do. But yeah, so I'm solid for a 7 too. If the order was tweaked a little bit, this would be an easy 8 as far as that goes. Rule set, I think. With some rewriting for the way some of this stuff works, but at its core, how everything works, I really fucking love this.
I dig this rule set.
Oh my god! Again, burden as basically inventory as what you're fighting against the entire time. The way that advancement works. I love the way that combat works, even though like it took a little bit of parsing to understand how it works. I love the way it works. I think it's incredibly clever. The opposed roll thing is something that one of the early times I saw that was in Durf, and it blew my mind when I saw there too, and I love it. It makes combat super fucking dynamic because every time you hit something,
you really bought into combat. You have to be, you know. You're like, okay, where are we now?
And not only that, again, combat is going to change everything you fucking do, because if you get your armor broken, the example you said was perfect. Like, it changes everything you can even fucking carry, and maybe even your entire pathway through the dungeon and what you even want to do. Because if you're just like, fuck, we want to go that way, but I have no armor, we fucking can't. Like, you can change everything. So I love the rule set throughout this entire thing. There's not really any specific rule in here that I'd be like, I would do that differently. I think, and I think we kind of gloss over a little bit the way that armor and everything is rolled so that every single one you pick up is different.
Yeah.
So fucking clever. So fucking clever. Like, I absolutely love that. So as far as rule set for me, like, what are you thinking? I mean,
this is a high, like, I'm an 8+ on this one, you know?
Dude, I'm at like an 8. I don't know if it bumps to 9 for me, because I look at games that also have 9s, like Kingdoms and stuff like that. I mean, there is no 10, so 9 is 10 for me. So I think this is like a hard, heavy 8. Like,
I think this is a throbbing 8.
Yeah, like this 8's got a load. It's a big one. Yeah. So originality.
You're all the worst people I know. Honestly, I can't stand any of y'all.
Originality, for all the reasons we just said for the rule set, I think gets a lot of points for it. As far as the setting, here's the thing: there isn't one you create every time.
Right.
I love that. It is standard kind of Western fantasy, but at the same time, you could easily create an expansion for this to put it into any setting you want. You could adapt this instantly into a space setting by not doing anything. You could just rename light weapon from femur to gun. Like, you don't have to, you could literally it's a reskin for any setting you want. And I love that. It feels like there's like an ingrained setting, but it could easily be adapted to post-apocalyptic,
very implied,
to
and
space.
It's like, yeah. It's like, okay, cool. Yeah, your fucking laser sword that you find, right? It's like, that's your melee weapon.
Yeah. And even the lore, instantly, by changing like 4 words, you have post-Earth post-apocalypse. You know what I mean? Like, salvage union, like anything. Like, you can change this to anything. So as far as originality goes for me, I think it's going to be a solid score, because I love the rules. It's got some really unique mechanics that are maybe hinted at in other games, or might be inspired by other games, but are really unique in and of themselves. I think the ability for the setting to be so implied and easily adaptable is fantastic. I mean, what are you thinking?
Fuck, I have to think. I don't know. I think this is another very strong 8 for me, you know?
Yeah, I think minimum. I think 8 is really, really solid for this. I think, again, I think it's just it's because it's a zine, you know what I mean? It's only 35 pages, you know what I mean? If it was something like Kingdoms, where it was like a perfect bound and like 80 pages and it had like a couple more like sub things in it, I feel like this would bump it to a 9. But a lot of this is just because it's on the cusp of zine to book, that it kind of is going to suffer.
The rolling of weapons and armor and stuff does a lot for me. Like that one does, like, I can't tell you how much, like, that one alone, like, yep, I think that's fucking sick. You can be in a dungeon that's like an old castle, and every armor set you find is the same armor set thematically, right? Like, but you can be like, oh yeah, this one's like held up over time, or this is like obviously like an officer's set. Like, it gives you so much, to play around with, you know?
Yeah. So yeah, easy 8 for this. And then value wise, so I think there was some discussion about the costs and stuff like that. Kirby, I know Kirby's still in the chat. If you want to drop what the cost is, so we will say, if you,
I know what it is. It's, if you go to disastertourism.games right now, it's for the print and digital $20, and for just the digital it's $10. Which is crazy.
Insane deal.
It's way underpriced. Kirby, raise your fucking prices. But it's very.
Is there a bundle? Is there any is there a bundle pack for like the cost of it all together or anything?
Pack? I went directly for the actual game, so yes, I'm cool.
But okay, so as you go for it,
there's not a bundle pack on the website right now. There will be, but Kirby hasn't set it up yet. So
you get guild. Right. And as far as value is not just the money you spend, but it's what you have as well, too. So on top of guild, there is the adventure book that comes with it. There are 6 adventures in here besides the one that comes in the book from Gabe Rivera of Copper State, who puts out great content, listen to this is issue 0. First of all, also, this is gorgeous. This is fucking gorgeous too. Listen to some of the names that are on this list here. Underguild by Stella Condre. No Glory by Luke Gearing.
I know.
Tomb of Mother Vix by Christian Sorrell, whose name is on every fucking RPG put out in 2023.
I know.
Fucking everything. There's a reason for that too. The Questionable Inheritance by Amanda P. Great content. The Viridescent Coil by KD. You know, Kirby. And then The Root Cause by Katie and Kristen Dinner. So I'm sorry, Stella Condre, Luke Gehring, Christian Sorrell, Amanda P, and then also Kirby, who makes fucking awesome content. The adventure book by itself is amazing. So that's 6 adventures automatically between these 2 books. Plus, let's talk about
also has a $10 digital or a $20 physical and digital. So
bam, donezo, worth it, easy.
I mean, if you're lean on cash for $20, you can get a digital copy of the game and the adventures. That's pretty good. That's
40 pages for this one too. Solid. Plus, at least the Kickstarter rewards.
6 dermal, you know.
Yeah, dope. The Kickstarter rewards gave you the fat pad of fucking character sheets, which are fantastic.
Yeah.
And then already talked about like the stickers and shit. So I mean, I think the value for this is super fucking solid. I think 20 is a little bit lower than I had said was good for it. But it's I think it's an amazing amount of, I mean, $20 if you just want to go digital for all of this, for 6 adventures and the whole system is fucking fantastic.
Yeah, that's a lot of gaming time with your friends, you know.
A lot of gaming time. I mean, and the adventures are great. So, and we've played one before, and maybe we'll play one again, and we'll talk about that in a second. So value-wise, what are you thinking for this? I mean,
I'm not sure. You've been calling this one.
So, I mean, 10 is basically a free game, right?
Right.
I think value, I mean, it's got to be at least like a 7 or 8. You know what I mean? Like, it's easy.
I'm somewhere in between those two. I feel like if it had more content out in the sphere of.
Well, so let's add a little bit more here, right? So this is only Adventure Book 0. There will be Adventure Book 1, right? It's got its own website.
Know what? There's also the generators that you can use online.
That's what I'm just saying.
Resource.
Drop that URL in the chat because mine's not working correctly on Streamlabs tonight, Kirby. But there is a website dedicated from Disaster Tourism just for this that has generators, that has that has a whole section of online resource content, right? So I think this is an easy.
That does count. So
yeah, so I think this is easy. I think that easy bumps it up to an 8 for me as far as the value that you get for this game. Even if you do it, you know, I'm going to do it anyway. So we're looking at a total of.
Oh, I don't add it anymore. Most of the time I just let you do it. I'm just like,
so we are at a 37 for this, which honestly, I think that feels right for this.
Yeah.
And I really think that maybe just like a little bit of tweaking with the layout and order of the game would have put this right up in like the 39-40 range, which is like the top tier of the games that we've gone over. So again, we love this game. We've played it before, and guess what? We're going to play it again because this is Guild Week, fam. The Kickstarter just went out into the world. I got mine yesterday, and I live on the other side of the country from Kirby, so everyone should be getting theirs very soon, if you haven't already. And on Friday, we are going to be we're going to be playing in what will be, and I've been talking about this forever, so it's actually going to be the first episode of Side Quest, which is a new AP series we're going to have here on the channel it's an emphasis on games that we have already reviewed on stream, with a soft emphasis also on teaching those games, and usually within 1 to 2 sessions max. A lot of one-shots or maybe short arcs for a little bit longer games, but the emphasis will be that playing games that we reviewed that we loved, and also an emphasis on having creators that games already exist in the world, they're not promoting them on Kickstarter, coming onto the stream to run them. So on Friday, we are going to be having Kirby come on stream, not like he hasn't been here before, to run an adventure of Guild for us. And I believe Seth from Boltneck Opossum will be our third to actually have an AP of this on SideQuest. So you can watch a review, watch the AP, and then go to the website and buy the fucking book.
Buy the fucking book!
That is our review of Guild. Thank you all for being here. Sorry if we were a little bit rough. I know Hunter's a little bit under the weather, and it's been, what, like 3 weeks since we fucking did any of this?
Looked at me.
Also, real quick, here at the end, this is episode 99. of the show.
99.
Not counting some other stuff like creator cuts and stuff like that. So episode 99 of our reviews. So episode 100. Do we want to say what we're doing for episode 100? Because it's the next thing. Anyway.
We're going to sacrifice a human on stream. It's going to be fucking crazy.
Yep, a little one. Yep. But, you know, still a whole person. No, there are I think about 16 or 17 zines that we looked at, read through, and talked about. No, it's like 16, 15 to 17, something like that, that we looked at, reviewed, but didn't give scores to because at the time we didn't have the scores we have now for zines. So we didn't feel like it was like a 20-page zine shouldn't have this many metrics reviewing it. So it wasn't until I think until later that we did that. So we are going to go back and wrap up for episode 100 to wrap up everything we've done, so that starting in 101, everything we've looked at, we've reviewed, we are going to go through and re-review or drop scores for every zine or everything that we haven't reviewed yet here on the show that we've talked about or gone over. So
and
that's going to be
sacrifice the person.
Exactly, at the end. Raffle. So we are going to be going over that. So that's what we're going to do. So starting fresh with 101, reviewing everything that we had done previously. There's going to be some changes here on the stream, including some URLs and stuff we'll talk about on episode 100. But there's going to be a cool kind of, hitting a button and a forward movement here for the Weekly Scroll podcast, which will be interesting, including kicking off side quests, which would be fun. So thank you, Hunter. I know you weren't feeling well and appreciate you being here. Kirby, thank you so much for this game. Can't wait to play it on Friday, and we will see you all later. And for those random people out there watching, good night.
May.